So here we are, everybody. We have the Wood Elves versus the Beastmen. Going to be looking at StormRunner versus Undertaker. So starting with our blue player, we're going to see the Wood Elves here. Going to be bringing 2 Dryads and a very healthy ranged contingent. Now the ranged force is going to consist of 2 Deepwood Scouts with Swift Silver Shards, as well as 3 Glade Guard, one of them with Hagbane tips, the other 2 just regular. We're going to be looking at 2 Eternal Guard, one of them being the Winterheart Guard, who are going to be unbreakable ROR. And then we're also going to be looking at the ROR Wild Riders, going to be the Hunters of Kurnos with their bonus versus large and magical damage. Going up for a little higher level view, we will see on the right flank another regular old Wild Rider, along with a Glade Guard, Glade Rider with Hagbane tips. So a little bit of poison in this army from the Glade Guard and the Glade Riders. Other than this, I do believe our force is nearly round out. We're just going to be looking at Orion down here on the ground with his Terror and Unbreakable. He's going to have the Horn of the Wild Hunt, as well as Hounds of Orion, Hawk's Talon, Bow Seeker, and good old Cloak of Isha. So, this is going to be a very quick and nasty fight, I think. Going to be all about the Vanguard, and right now we're looking at the Beastmen, speaking of said Vanguard. Front line of 4 Ungor Raiders with shields, and a 5th one being the ROR Destroyers of Drakewall. We're going to have 4 units of Ungor Raiders, each of them ranked up between 4 and 5. And then we're going to have 5 units of Goreherd with shields, the 5th one being the Blackhorns Ravager ROR, who have stock and perfect vigor. Now, for the rest of the Beastmen force, we are going to be seeing a Vanguard of 4 Centaurs in the back lines. And then we're going to be looking at a leadership squad consisting of a Bray Shaman of Shadows. We're going to have the Penumbral Pendulum and nothing else besides Smoke and Mirrors as that passive to get the extra speed. Now we're also going to be looking at Morgor the Shadow Gave. He will have both of his summons as well as Call to Violence. Now, that's the name of it. Yeah, Call of Violence, my bad. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting match, and the Vanguard is going to make it start right away, so it should be an action-packed match we have ahead of us, chat. Yeah, Drakewald Spears have poison. All of the Spearmen have stock in Vanguard now, by the way, move hacker. All Ungor Spearmen have stock and Vanguard deployment. Which is just a lovely change to the Beastmen. I have to say, it really makes them feel much different than every other faction now that they have so much Vanguard potential. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to discount it yet, because Orion and 2 Wild Riders, that's going to be what is going to tear through this part of the army. Like, Orion and his Wild Riders, granted, they're Centaurs, which, you know, they have to decide if they want to go rush back and kill the Centaurs, which I think these guys are more than capable of doing. They have their Fear, Orion has Terror, and they just completely outclass Centaurs, but it looks like he's going to be deciding to push forward and wrap around the Beastman left flank here. And I can't say I disagree with that opinion. I mean, with that decision, you know, if he does it quickly enough, he could very quickly crump a ton of this Beastman line, because Wild Riders versus Goreherd with shields, it's no contest, and they're getting a lovely rear charge on top of them right now. However, the Beastmen are now taking their turn to pull out their Vanguard shenanigans, and the Centaurs are just diving into a ton of unprotected Wood Elf skirmishers right now. Spearmen coming in, laying down poison, as we just mentioned, the Drakewald has the poison, and now the Centaurs have their hands in that cookie jar, and they're just going to town. But all the while they're doing that, we're also seeing the Wood Elves run train on the Beastman backline as well. And it looks like the Wood Elf front line is actually coming out on top against these Ungor Spearmen, which I suppose isn't too surprising, but the Beastmen doing a good job of cornering and killing off a lot of the Wood Elf range power, just focusing on taking care of all these missile units and leaving the bare minimum amount of Beastmen over here to hold down the Wood Elf front line. So right now I'd say both players trading fairly evenly, but the Beastmen do look like they're in a strong position just with the numerical superiority here. As I said, the Wood Elves are winning the front line, but against 2 Spearmen, that's, you know, hardly a front line that you really want to win, while all of your archers are getting chewed up in the back line. We're going to see Orion over here. I don't know why the Wild Riders have stayed in combat here. I really would have liked to see them pull out, avoid staying here with these Chaos Spawn, because infantry is basically not even going to be able to touch them as long as they're cycling in and out for charges. Another thing I just noticed is there's no magic in this Wood Elf army. Now that's a baller move indeed, but I do think it's going to really put him at a deficit, because if he had some Earthblood right now, you know, he could be putting these Wild Hunters of Kurnos right back up at the top, or he could be punishing some of these blobs, different effects, but it looks like he did at least bring Orion's abilities, as we saw when we were going over the army, so going to be able to get a nice little bit of damage on these lightly armored Centaurs. But yeah, looking across the battlefield, it's just getting worse and worse for the Wood Elf forces. They still have 2 of their Glade Riders with the Hagbane tips. We're very healthy. The ROR Wild Hunters are doing okay, but still not the best. And at this point, it just seems like the Beastmen are going to be able to chase the Wood Elves all across the map until they're dead. And yeah, Centaurs getting in on top of these Wild Hunters of Kurnos. More Centaurs coming in. If I was Undertaker here, I'd definitely want to make sure I peel this one off rather than sending them all in from the same direction. It would be great if he could just get some surrounds going here, you know, prevent these Wood Elf forces from escaping. Oh, we just missed a beautiful Penumbral Pendulum going through the Winterheart Guard, doing oh so much damage, because I guarantee you they didn't take all that damage fighting Ungor Spearmen. Oh, what a beautiful cast there. Yeah, this game was good, and you know, some good initial engagements from the Wood Elves, but you know, going back in hindsight when we were talking about how he decided to push this flank, get on top of the Beastmen, doing that aggressive maneuver, I think it would have been far better if he would have pulled back this way and set up that defensive line, because his Wild Riders and Orion could have killed these Centaurs no problem. And once the Beastmen mobility was dealt with, I think the Wood Elves could have had that game, magic or no magic. But as soon as he surrendered all of his ranged power to 4 Centaurs, then it was just going to be a GG from there, and it looks like army losses will be kicking in, and Orion's going to be the last person on the field staying strong. Oh, what are we going to see here, Orion? Oh, that is fun to watch. Yeah, Orion's a tough cookie, but he's causing terror now. Ox Talons are coming in, but just a bit too late by the look of it. And Ungor Raiders are going to shoot Orion to death. But a great game to both players, and Undertaker represented the Beastie Boys well. Better luck in the losers bracket to StormRunner. I get knocked down, but I get up again. My name is Orion. I get knocked down, but I get up again. My name is Orion. Look at him go. Just viscera exploding everywhere. He is just a man on a mission. Mel Gibson here, going straight for Mordor the Shadow Gave. Oh, that was a bit anticlimactic. They just like stopped and looked too deep into each other's eyes. But yeah, that's going to be the end of Orion as he gets stabbed in the back by Mordor the Shadow Gave.